Hi, everybody, and welcome. I'm speaking to you today from Aspen, and I have a wonderful friend who's joining us. Hi, Sally.
Hello.
And you are a brave soul who said that you would be willing to ask your question and have it videotaped so everyone else could learn. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
So what's been on your mind?
Well, I'm the middle kid of three. I have a big brother and I had a younger brother who's gone now. And my father was very domineering and my mother was pretty quiet. And um, my father used to put people down verbally a lot. And as a kid, I picked up on that and I think treated my younger brother in some ways that were not helpful. Um, and I think perpetuated some of what was going on in our family that made him kind of the identified patient. He was the one who couldn't do well and he ran away and he took drugs. And looking back on that, I have a lot of regrets that I wasn't a better sister, that I didn't stand up for him. And even as we became adults, until fairly recently, I would make comments that he wasn't doing well and stuff. And I wish now I could take that back and he's gone. So
Mm. And so what would you do now that you didn't do then? How would you have shown up as an older sister to your brother?
I think I would have protected him some from my dad. And I would have valued who he was instead of telling him who he should be.
Mm.
And I think I would have been more understanding about how difficult things in life were for him at times.
Mm. So first of all, I want to say I'm really sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. And I also see how clear you are, that you've really spent some time, reflecting on this and probably a little bit of beating yourself up, of course, and just feeling the guilt, the regret, right, in all of this. I think the first thing that I go to is you're really clear about the patterns in your family.
Mm.
And so you recognize that there was a way that this was modeled to you,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you happen to pick that up. And what you're saying now is that wasn't okay. Like, even though that happened and that's how I learned to be by the role models that were in front of me, I now recognize that this was not okay. So because that happened in your life and because you've reflected on it, how has that changed how you see other people or treat other people?
Mm. Hmm. Well, I guess, I actually perpetuated that until well into our adult years. And I think I cut other people more slack.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm more understanding. Someone once said people are doing the best they can under their circumstances. And
Yeah.
I think I am more willing to see that in other people than I was in him.
Yeah. And so one thing, that's really important is like the way I think about how we come into this world, I think of us as like these souls. And when I get really animated, I think of us as different colored, bright energy souls that get to inhabit this body. And this body allows us to play with each other, play in the world. Like, it allows us to explore and have fun, right? And, just get around and be mobile. And I call our soul entering this experience as life school. And so if we're in life school and every interaction, every person we meet, every experience we have is this eye-opening or at least lesson delivering experience, even the joys and all of that, I look at our family
Mhm.
as like the life lessons. Like they're going to teach you the biggest ones there are. And so what it sounds like is however your father behaved to you and you wished it were different, he was in a position of authority and you now were in a position of authority with your brother,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
In age. And so it really sounds like you modeled probably some of the good behaviors and the behaviors you didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
And your realization of that, I really like the quote that you said before this because it really seems like some self-forgiveness is in order. And so why don't you just take a moment and as you speak about, give me an example of you with your brother, right? This criticizing, pointing out that he's not in a good place. As if, right, he doesn't know that, right? Like he can feel it, he knows it. And you were only doing that in that moment out of the own angst in yourself, right? There was something in you that it either helped you feel better about you, it helped you name what wasn't being said, like warning, warning, like, do you see where you're headed, right? Whatever it is, it can come from any of those places. But as we're speaking about it, as we're talking about it, you're bringing it up right now. What do you feel in your body? Tell me where you feel that regret, that guilt in your body. So just take a nice, slow, deep breath in and out. Let your shoulders drop, right? And feel your bottom wherever you are sitting. And as you scan from the top of your head, right, down through your nose and your eyes, your cheekbones, your jaw, into your, neck and shoulders, just becoming aware of your chest cavity as you're slowly breathing, down into your abdomen, your belly, into your pelvis, and into your legs. All the way down. As you do a body scan, where do you feel any contraction? Oh, right here.
There's a tightness in my throat, especially on the left side. Here.
Yeah.
The sadness.
Aha. So you feel the sadness. So what would you say to me if I was your brother? What do you want me to know? What do you want me to know?
Wow. I would want you to know that I loved you.
Yep.
And that I wasn't always fair to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I had supported you more. Mm-hmm. And I wish I had been less judgmental.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I had helped you more in ways that were useful and not condescending. Mm-hmm. And I wished I had celebrated with you more. Because towards the end of your life, you got it together and then you were gone.
Mm-hmm. And so what do you want to thank me for being in your life? What do you want to thank me for? I'm your brother.
Brother, oh, you had such a sense of humor. And he was always taller, much taller than me. And I would put my arm around him and say, this is my little brother. And he would put his arm around me down and say, this is my big sister, And we had some real fun together. And you also gave me a nephew, and now a great nephew, which is as close as I'll probably ever come to having a grandchild. And so, yeah, you were fun to be around and bright and caring, and helpful. You could fix anything. Oh my gosh, it was so nice when you came to visit. You could fix things. Yeah.
So what I would say to you, as I hear you and my heart lightens and I can feel your sincerity, I would take you back to the things that you wish you would have done differently, like be less condescending to me, support me, be kind to me, and loving. And I would say, like, my hope is that you didn't just learn those things in interaction with me, like that's life school. But my hope is that you're going to take those lessons and apply them to yourself. Apply less criticism, more love, more support, showering yourself with more celebration of whatever you accomplish, and, you know, standing in for his soul. Like, that's just what I feel. What I feel is like, kind of like it's okay, sis, as long as you use what you learned and you be nice to my big sister. Right? Because the way we treat ourselves is how we treat other people. Right? And so I would ask you, right, because now I want to move into a little bit of self-forgiveness, which is, are you ready to give up all hope of a better past? Think about that question. Can you go back and redo it? No. So are you going to keep trying to relive it and change it and recreate it? Or are you ready to give up all hope of a better past?
That's easier said than done.
Yeah, well, if the answer is no, then what I know is you're not quite ready for self-forgiveness, right? Because if you're still trying to recreate the past or your childhood or your experience, then you're going to stay stuck there. Mm-hmm. If you are like, okay, that wasn't the way I wanted it to be. I wish it were different. It's gone now. But what I can do is carry those lessons forward in life school. And I want to graduate from that class, that one that beats me up and that one that's all about criticism and how I criticized him and I criticized me. And I'm kind of done with that. And I'm ready to take those lessons and I'm ready to move forward in my life to make those exchanges worth something, meaningful, to create an action moving forward that allows those lessons to be valuable and have created change in you and in the world. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, I'm asking you one more time.
All right.
All right, so are you ready to give up all hope of a better past?
Yeah.
So notice where in your body you feel that, right? And as you breathe, right here, yeah. And as you take a nice deep breath in, thank your body for communicating with you and letting you know that there was something that didn't feel quite right in your relationship as a big sister. And as you take another nice deep breath in, I want you to answer this question honestly. Did you do the best you knew how with what you knew at the time, with the knowledge and awareness that you had at the time?
Yeah. I think I did.
Yeah, you being a little hard on yourself? Because it feels like you might be being a little hard on yourself, because I'm pretty sure you did the best job you knew with what you knew at the time.
I can look back and say that, can totally say that about the growing up years and the teenage years. What's tougher is things that were like just 10 or 15 years ago when I was an adult. Those are tougher to say that I did the best I could. Mm-hmm. You know, as a kid, we wind up where we wind up. There isn't much choice. Mm-hmm. But even with the years of therapy and stuff, I still picked on him. Yep. And I guess those are tougher to say I did the best I could. Mm-hmm.
And so while you're healing and so you're willing to forgive yourself as a child, and
Mhm.
growing up, but you're not willing to forgive the adult version of you. Is that where we are?
Yeah.
It looks like you're willing to forgive the kid, but not the adult. Okay. Well, what I would say is that that's where you are right now. And the amazing part is, what's the difference between being a kid and an adult?
Mm. I I had more insight as I was growing up. I had more awareness.
Mhm.
Um,
So what's the cutoff age? Like when is it okay to make mistakes? And then suddenly you pass it and like, sorry, no mistakes here.
oh,
You got a tricky critic inside. You got
yeah.
a tricky one. And so I'm just wondering, right, what it might feel like to allow yourself to know that just by forgiving yourself, it doesn't mean you're forgetting your brother.
Hmm. Yeah.
You're in fact honoring him by you can't like get tortured in your whole life, torture your brother, and then he's gone, so then you torture yourself some more, right? You could do that. But it just seems like at some point what he would want is your happiness as well.
Yeah, he would want me to let go of it. I actually apologized once to him for something that happens for kids. And he said, "Oh, Sal, that was a long time ago." And I
Mm.
said, "Yeah, but I hurt you and I'm sorry." And he said, "Ah, no big deal." You know, I mean, I think he would want me to let this go for sure.
Yeah, I think the person who it hurt more than anything has been you with you. Your relationship with what you think of yourself, your own self-esteem around this, and who you are as a big sister and as a person. And so the question is like, can you partner with the younger version of you, that version of you that felt hurt and didn't feel seen and felt criticized and didn't feel as much love as you wish you had? Partner with that part of you and promise her that you are now the adult that's going to take care of her.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? And if you do that, I have a feeling uh, not only will you not forget your brother, you will be so grateful for the life lessons the two of you came in this world to learn together.
Mhm,
Because the worst thing would be is to have that all happen and feel all this guilt and never learn the lessons and never get the joy that comes from
mhm,
learning the lesson and letting yourself off the hook.
mhm. Well, also the joy from remembering the good times with him.
Yeah, yeah. So you got to decide how you want to be in memory of your brother.
Yeah.
You want to be in memory of your brother in the contentious criticism, or do you want to be in memory of your brother in the playful love and joy that you had together?
Mhm.
So I'm going to ask you one more time. Here we go. Do you think that you did the best you knew how with the awareness and the knowledge you had at the time?
Yeah. Yeah, I can say yes to that.
Yeah. And so just taking a nice slow deep breath in and out and just noticing, you can live your life in regret, or we can see this as a life lesson, and then we can take all the learnings, and he may not be here anymore, but there's an opportunity for you to honor your relationship with him
Mhm,
by treating you the way that he did.
mm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And more than makes sense. I hope it's dropping right through. How's that throat doing?
It's doing a little better.
Yeah. And when your throat tightens up or your jaw tightens up, it's a great thing to lean into it and just say like, oh, where am I out of alignment? What is it that I need to say that I'm not saying? Where's the critic? What's the critic got to say that we can trust, right? How can we replace that with love and be supportive? So it's your turn now to do the bigger task, which is shower all of that on yourself.
Mhm.
Hmm. All right. So tell me, what were your takeaways?
Um, I think for me, the big takeaway is just remembering the times I felt guilty was blocking me from having the really good memories of him,
Mm-hmm.
of remembering the fun and the joy and the closeness we shared,
Mm-hmm.
and the things that we had in common and that we enjoyed doing. That's probably the biggest one, is if I can let go of the other stuff, then I can remember him in a different way.
You're going to stay connected. You're not letting go of him. You're literally reconstructing your relationship to him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And he would definitely want me to not be so hard on myself.
Fantastic.
That would be true. That would be true.
Yeah, I could tell how he's like, sis, that was a long time ago. Like, let it be, you know. He
Yeah.
just wanted your connection and for your, love.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sally. Such an honor. Thank you for sharing so openly and so lovingly. Yeah, I think you're a great big sis.
Oh, well, thank you. Oh, the other thing he would want, oh, that's true. He would want me to shower the same stuff on his son and his grandson. That's what he would also want.
Yeah.
And I feel critical sometimes of his son, and he would want me to treat his son in that way.
Well, it sounds like you've got a second and a third chance.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. And for all of you out there, if you know that you have regrets, you have ways that you've behaved in the past, my hope for you is that if the person is alive, that you find the courage and the compassion for yourself to be able to mend that with them. And if by chance the person is no longer there, what I want you to know is that you can still mend this. Your relationship with them is still alive because the alchemy that they brought into your life and how they changed you isn't something that gets undone. So thank you again, Sally. I so appreciate you.
Thank you.